Welcome everybody to the Overkill Festival and this new evening with our chapter 3 of our symposium program. For the people who don't know me or who don't recognize me tonight, I'm Marie, the co-director of the festival, and I will introduce a little bit where you are. Sorry, I have to do a little sound thing. Whoop, little sound. So just I will introduce a little bit the festival and tell you a little bit of the theme of this event and that you understand where you are and why we're talking about this very inspiring and interesting subject. So the Overkill Festivals this year is called the Collective Masquerade. And the idea was in the hope that we would be a little bit more together physically, was a research about how can we be together in a world where we live and in a physical space and in digital spaces where because of this pandemic, a lot of us kind of rediscovered the possibilities of internet so that we can actually work with people from all over the world. And that can brings a lot of beautiful new ways of being together, beautiful ways of having a more diverse representation of all of us. And I wanted to say of all the humans, but actually today this is very about this, that it's not just about all the humans, but all the different species and all the different living and non-living entities of our world. And we're not the only one, but this is also what's very interesting. There's more and more organization, cultural organization, but not only, and scientists and philosophers and researchers who are very much busy with this idea of how do we build a future with a more open vision of what it means to be together. So this is how we started a little bit, this project and this research about the Overkill. And within this research, we invited a few artists to create artwork for us and to help us think about this topic. And so now the festival opened as a physical exhibition that you can still visit until Sunday. If you are lucky enough to be in Enschede and in the Netherlands, we are open until 5 every day until Sunday. And but we also do this online program, and we hope that it's somehow a way to dive in our programs and exchange with us. Give also your feedback is very welcome. Your questions are very welcome, and all your reaction are something which help us to keep thinking and working together. So this talk program we are in right now is part of this research, so mask filters and identities. And we did this with the help of Manique, Hendricks and Aynouk, who are here with us tonight in this video call. And 4 artists, Matias Brunacci, who presented his work on Monday, and in the beautiful symposium and a series of talks about queer embodiment. So with all research about representation in bodies and especially in VR. But this is something you can watch back in the YouTube channel. Tuesday, we were with Oliver Hunter Pohorille, like a scumboy from South Africa, and all about multi-layer identities. This was also a very beautiful evening, and lots of very interesting input. And tonight we dive in the 3rd chapter. And tonight we go so beyond human. And this is why I'm wearing this wonderful mask, actually, and a face filter created by Sandrine Deumier. And sorry, she could not be with us tonight, but we hope that through these talks and through this presentation, you will understand a little bit what she tried to do and yeah, discover what she created. So this filter I'm wearing, actually, she created for us. So that was also like a beautiful surprise for us when she showed us this. So I will switch now. I hope it works and that you see this. I have no idea what you see. So this one is called Tactile Eyes. This is also something you can experience in the exhibition, But I think our wonderful moderator, Niels, will also share those links with you in the chat. So if you want to try it right now, you can also go to the page of Sandrine and click on the little stars. And there's the 4 different filters that you can try yourself. If you do this and you want to take pictures or video and share it with us, and then we can all see this, it's a sort of like a mini moment of togetherness. Don't hesitate to do this. If you put something like a hashtag, the Overkill 2021, then it helps us to find it back. And then everybody who's watching, everybody who's in this panel can also see who's here. So this is something which, oh yeah, there was called sensory breath. So this one, I can't do it. I didn't find the sensor on my iPad, but I think if you blow a little bit, there should be this this little creature coming out of your mouth. Maybe it's easier if you do it on your telephone, you will see it yourself. And then here, this one is called Vibrissae, and this is how this whole project started. And Vibrissae are those little hair I have here on my face, which are one of the sensor this animal have to understand their environment. And the last one she created is here, and is called sensitive phase. I hope I show this good enough that you see. And but you can obviously try this yourself. So that was my little introduction for now. And then I will leave Aynouk, Tan, and Manique Hendricks come in to the stream and present this evening.
Yes. Thank you, Marie. You look amazing. You look wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
We will talk about it a little bit more later in this evening, also about the face filter and about Sandrine's work, which she made the face filter. Like you said, Marie, we were asked by you, Manique and me, to curate a program. And again, it's important to say that you can all watch them back on the YouTube channel of Overkill Festival. Maybe it's good to I also introduce myself. My name is Aynouk Tan. I'm a curator, advisor, a lecturer, a journalist, and my work revolves around the themes of appearance and identity and how those two connect, how it has to do with politics and societal impact. It also relates to the topic of queer identities and practices of decolonization. So that is what I'm busy with. I teach in that sense, and I advise, and I work a lot in the cultural sector, also as a moderator like I do today. Today we have a great theme, like Marie also said, but Manique will tell a little bit more about that. I think you will do that now, right? And maybe it's also to introduce some of the speakers that we have today, because we have an exciting program today as well. So Manique, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So my name is Manique Hendricks. I'm an art historian, but I work as a junior curator at the Media Art Institute Lima in Amsterdam, and also as a freelance curator, writer, and researcher. And my practice is based around themes of identity, visual and digital culture, representation, the body. So in that sense, I think tonight's theme is a perfect match, which is about going beyond human and the human form. So the digital sphere has given us the opportunity to become more than human. A fish, a tree, another non-defined entity, we can become everything online if you want to. But what kind of effect does this have on our physical identity? Is this development also pushing us more to experiment with our identities in real life? And does it create more empathy towards plants or animals? And also, who do we want to become if all the possibilities of identity creation in the digital realm are so endless? To put it in other words, how can we move beyond human? And how would this change our social relationship with all living creatures? So tonight, we will explore this theme together, first with the work of Sandrine Deumier, and then we will have a presentation by artist Valentina Gal, Taka Taka and Clara Saito, and we will end this night with a panel discussion. So if you have any questions for the artists, please put them in the YouTube chat. And I would like to give the word to Aynouk again to introduce the artist that made these wonderful face filters, Sandrine Deumier.
We will talk about that definitely. But before that, I want to get a little call out there, because we have also an interesting exercise today by the artist Taka Taka. They will give a presentation, but they also will do a little exercise, a small exercise with the audience watching right now. And if I'm correct, then the Overkill Festival shared now in the chat a WeTransfer file. If you want to participate in the exercise, then it's good that you already download the files right now. So they are in the chat. It's a WeTransfer link. You get 3 beautiful files. They're not too big, but to do that, that is in preparation of the exercise that Taka Taka will do with the audience. So please download the link already, and then you will hear a little bit more later on during the exercise of Taka Taka. By the way, Taka Taka, welcome to you as well. You look beautiful as ever. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm very good, and I'm very happy and honored, honestly, because I'm a long-time admirer of you, Aynouk, and I think I look like that because you looked like that before me when I arrived in the Netherlands, 2009. So you really inspired me, and thank you, Manique, as well, and thanks to the festival.
Okay, thank you. That's always good to hear. I almost want to say, go on. No, this is not about me tonight. And there's a lot of artists presenting. But thank you very much for the compliment. It is always nice to hear. So then we'll move to the work of Sandrine Deumier, which couldn't be here with us today. But Marie, you are wearing the face mask of Sandrine, and maybe it's good to elaborate a little bit on that. How did this project came about, and how do you, as a festival at Overkill Festival, select certain artists for this? So Sandrine made a work. Sandrine Deumier made this face mask. Sandrine Deumier is a pluridisciplinary artist. That's how she names herself, working in the field of performance, poetry, and video art. And her work investigates post-futurist themes through the development of aesthetic forms related to digital imaginaries. With her dual philosophical and artistic training, she has constructed a multifaceted poetic style focused on the issue of technological change and the performative place of poetry conceived through new technologies. This is her bio. Marie, how did you select? I mean, you're Overkill, you're a digital festival. You give certain artists like Sandrine the assignment to make something for you. Why did you pick Sandrine for this work, and have you commissioned her work? How did this came about?
So we met Sandrine last year during the Overkill Festival in 2020, and we invited her to exhibit one work. It was a 360 video, totally white, with already a mix of sort of futuristic figures and natural elements, and it was growing all together very slowly. It still exists. The video is very beautiful, and when we had to move our festival from a physical event to a totally online event last year, her work ended up inside our online exhibition in a sort of sphere. We made this 3D gaming environment kind of exhibition, and her work it became the meeting place of this exhibition. Somehow it just fitted perfectly in the design of the artist who made the online exhibition, the Rodina, and this work of Sandrine kind of brought us all together in this exhibition. That was like the quiet place, the white place. The video is also very slow, so this is how somehow for a lot of people in 2020 there was like, oh yeah, you remember this white ball, this space we could be in together was really kind of quiet. So this is how I thought, okay, we have to keep going with Sandrine, because there's this very delicate and interesting thing with her, and it's also I mean with her work. And what I really what I was also very intrigued is that in the work we encounter in video games, it's often very fast, it's often very busy, it's colorful. I mean, or this is what we like to look at, and then she had something totally different. This is like very you can see also those filters are actually almost just this gray with reflection, with this quietness and this delicate way of presenting things was something we're very curious about. Maybe because we're ourselves not super delicate, I don't know, but it was very interesting to have her with us for this.
Yes, and her work is called. You both are French, actually. Yes, Sandrine is French, and you are French too. And the work is called Vibres. Vibres. I don't know. Okay, can you maybe elaborate on this? She wrote a little text about it, and it says Vibres, if I pronounce correctly, are stiff hairs on the face and nostrils of animals, such as the whiskers of a cat, the hair-like feathers around the bill and eyes of insect-feeding birds, the paired bristles near the mouth of certain flies, or the sensitive hairs of plants. So can you tell a little bit more about the title and maybe the process of Sandrine's way of thinking in terms of this work?
So I think this word is not a French word. I think it comes from the Latin, the old Latin. I don't know if you say this properly in English, but so, and I heard her saying vibraces, I think. But anyway, it's so it's literally how those little hair. I don't know if you see in my face right now, but this little hair on the face of insect or cats also, like it did. And then with this hair, I think like dust or little elements around them they just stick to it, and this is how they understand what's around them. And when we started to talk about this mask with Sandrine, something which was very interesting to her was, can we use the mask to modify the function of our faces? As human, our faces, we have eyes to see, we have a nose to smell, we have a mouth to eat, and she wanted to get rid of these functions and try to see, can other animals and other living entities, can I use all of them to give another function to our face? I think this is how this whole thing started.
Maybe it's also good, Sandrine made a little video about in which she shows how she made this work. Maybe it's good to see a little bit of a clip of that.
Yeah, I will ask to put the video. The video is coming.
Perfect. I think there it is.
Yeah.
I thought there was also something that she was doing on the, there it comes, there it comes.
So what you see is this program she used to create this filter, and what was also for us as the Overkill, very beautiful. She never used this program before. We invited her last March for this little celebration where all the artists created this filter together, and but she kind of embraced the challenge and she said, "Okay, I will try." And I think this whole since March until today, this was not an easy process for her to create all of this, and she went through and she created these beautiful things. And for me it means a lot that we managed to work together in a certain sense, and that she gave us so much, and she put, so that's for us as a festival a very beautiful relation.
Why wasn't it easy for her to create this?
I think technically first, that because it was the first time she was using this program, and then I think we, you and Manique, we also pushed her. Like we asked her a lot of questions, a lot of, because we also are curious. So we were asking, why this way? What do we learn like this? What are you reading? So she also, what I also really appreciate is that she shared also a lot of the lectures she's having, because she also has a background in philosophy. So she also kind of challenged us into these readings, and I think she made me discover this Vinciane Depré with her new book about I think the book is an autobiography of an octopus, and this philosophy around what we think we know about animals and what we actually could learn again. Because like, for example, in this text she shared with us about the octopus, was that we think that the octopus throw ink to hide himself, but we could also imagine this is a way of writing, and this is a way of writing, and it doesn't have to be writing something because he's scared, but that could be a way of sharing poetry or sharing things with their environment. And this for me is a bit of an open-minded, like, okay, yes, that we have this assumption that animals behave because they have to, and then this is new ways of looking at it.
Yeah, in the previous when we prepared this symposium, we were also talking about this book of Eva Meyer, who basically said that animals just speak a different language. They have a different kind of way of speaking, of acting, but that humans maybe should learn a little bit more about animal languages instead of discarding them and putting them away. Yeah, and I think Eva Meyer in her book also pleads for the voting right of animals. That they have to have political power. It's just that we do not understand them. We put them aside and we treat them in a sort of hierarchical way. But I think it's very important to learn more about how animals do things, also to live in a more equal way, actually, together with us, which we are also animals in a way. Hey, my last question to you, and then we're going to the next presentation, is, Marie, you do this for a long time already. You're artistic director of the digital festival. Do you think by making these kind of works that change our perception of what a face is, or that questions our perception of what a face is, or what a human is, or this entity we can become that you literally are right now, do you also think that it has effect on the physical life, let's say?
Yes, very short yes. But I really think that because it's not that separated, that I'm here talking with you, and it's a very physical experience for me to do this, even you see me in your digital computers. But I'm talking to you while I'm wearing this filter. So the way I move my head, because I would like this hair to, it's a physical thing. And I think nowadays we are always with our phone in our hands. We have like music in our heads. So it's all, there's screens everywhere in the streets. So it's already totally mixed. So I think the video. So I do think it has.
La lumière était verte, hybride et tentaculaire. La lumière,
I think very inspiring what
avec
you
une
do.
odeur de pluie.
I think we know enough about Sandrine
Mes
at
yeux
this
se sont
moment.
habitués à cette lumière et
Maybe
j'ai
the
commencé à
video,
manipuler la
maybe
graine
Sandrine
en prenant
can
soin de toucher le moins de surface possible.
balance herself.
La
No,
graine brillait
there.
sous mes
Anyway,
doigts.
yeah, that's great. Because we're going to the next. Oh, and maybe it's also important to say that again, the link of the face filters which Sandrine made are in the chat, so you can try them on yourself. Which, like Marie said, is a very physical experience. I also tried it myself, and it's interesting. So we go to the next speaker, Valentina Gall. Manique, I think it's up to you to introduce her.
Yes. So I would love to introduce you the first speaker and presenter tonight, which is artist Valentina Gall, who in her practice dives into the world of different subcultures that are mostly shielded from the rest of the world to become one of them. Recently, she won a dog show with her dog and made a persona online, which is a physical or virtual character associated with a furry animal. She sees an analogy between the perfect simulation that those worlds have to offer and the way people completely lose their connection with reality. With the information that she picks up in these places, she creates works like hairy sculptures, installations, videos, and born digital work. So tonight, she will be presenting and talking about two of her video works, which are Best of Breed and The Spirit is Willing, but the Flesh is Furry. And after we will ask you some questions. But first, let's go to the presentation, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Valentina Gall and I'm a visual artist mainly specialized in video installations, and welcome to my artist talk. I am interested in people and their behavior and how the image of the world around us influences our subjectivity. With my works, I offer my spectators a glimpse into the hidden worlds of people and their fantasies. Through various media, such as video, sculptures, lights, audio, comfort and fragrance, I stimulate all senses in a kind of a sensual hyperreality. My unbiased research is mostly about groups that are often hidden from the general public. By becoming part of a subculture with a specific, sometimes monomaniacal interest, I become, as an outsider, one of them. My work Best of Breed was formed by my research on dog shows. The people on such show are in perfect harmony with their beloved four-legged friend, and these dogs are, as it were, transformed into living sculptures. The best thing to feel this harmony for myself was to join in together with my dog Georgia, an Irish soft-coated Wheaten Terrier. In 2017, we won the title Best of Breed. The video installation Best of Breed is actually about power relations. In this work, I regard man as a kind of dog, a subject manipulated by current media. We are kept on an invisible leash by higher powers. Because of these images imposed on us, man must always strive for a better version of himself. By setting unrealistic goals for ourselves and mirroring us to unachievable standards of beauty and success, we lose contact with reality. In this installation, we temporarily see ourselves as a dog, elegantly swinging with our hair, drinking from our bowl, kept quiet without a bark by beautiful colors and seductive toys.
Here, border calling mix. They're ready. This is it. And they're off. And again. Oh, that was close. They're going to call that a false start. Boy, she doesn't eyeball. So that was quick.
What happens is the tree of lights comes down, and so she's got to time how many feet back, so that they have to really get that timing ready.
They don't want one of the dogs jumping and getting that start unfairly. Exactly. Boom, there they are.
Clean start.
Wow, Keen focused and down, got the start again. Pressure being put on by Patty, but who will it be? Back into the 30.
Oh,
it's Keen again. Keen is leading. Patty trying to make up the distance, but will it be enough? No! Keen!
One of my latest works derives from my interest in the furry fandom. The furry fandom fascinates me because it is a world in which people find themselves identified with animals, and where reality and hyperreality live side by side and no common thread is visible any longer. Unfortunately, the fandom has many negative misconceptions. The fandom is therefore a very protected and secluded group, where many followers don't dare to express themselves as a true furry, either to their family, friends, nor loved ones.
I think I am one of them, even though I used to ridicule them. Me and my friends used to mock them and slightly tease them, but truth be told, it's no longer a joke to me, and I'm not quite certain I want to mock or tease any longer, as it actually hurts. I am really interested in dressing up as my self-made persona. My persona is a she-wolf, and she wears a green scarf with grey and purple fur. I call her Saberi because my name is Safi and my boyfriend calls me Berry sometimes, although he doesn't know I'm a furry yet. That's another worry. He doesn't understand stuff like that, and he becomes humiliating. It's just the way he is. We both used to be like that, but I can no longer wear this fake mask of pretend funniness. Will his acceptance be broad enough to understand the furry in me? Am I true furry, or is it just a phase? I apologise if this revelation doesn't belong here. If that may be the case, then direct me to where it belongs, please.
By being part of this fandom for some time, I found out that it's primarily about self-expression, togetherness, and a preference for anthropomorphic animals, as one often encounters in comic books, games, or cartoon characters, and as a character in myths or fantasy books. Part of this world is having a second identity. Each person has their own or physical alter ego in the form of an anthropomorphic animal, also known as a persona.
Now you may be wondering how we're going to paint ourselves today, and we are going to be using these cans. These cans are a nice varied range of primary colours that we're going to use to express ourselves. So first we'll be painting with the left leg, and we'll be painting down from the foreleg up to the thigh using this red can. So let me just make a start here, get that all nice and shaped up. and start slowly painting up and down on your leg. Like this, like so. There we go, like so. Very nice. As you can see, the red is really soaking in up on my lower thigh and down to my foreleg. So after we've done that, we're going to start working on the other leg. Really nice blue tone. There you go, that's about done there. Very lovely. So now we're going to start painting on my left arm, you know, get some nice yellowy colour in here, you know, really spice up our character, you know what I'm saying? So it's really nice and, you know, it sticks out from the general Sheba normie crowd. So if you've been following so far, your Sheba should look something like this, or your canvas, as you can see on the tag there, saying canvas, you know. I thought it was a clever name.
The video work is divided into 4 different digital personas. The video can be seen through the eyes of the viewer, who is being guided by different personas and their worlds. These personas are also translated in physical form by means of fursuits, so that the person can actually live their persona in real life. By doing so, people can escape reality and are the best version of themselves in the role of a physical persona. The video has a certain serenity, where occasionally a form of darkness seeps through. For example, the burning of a head base. This is a rare ritual where the creator of the head or fursuit takes distance from their persona. The reason to do this may differ, for one can think that the maker does not have enough affinity with his created persona, or to abandon the fandom entirely. By combining techniques such as body tracking and digital animation, with a seductive visual language and elements full of historical and everyday meaning, I reflect as an artist on a human pursuit of perfection imposed by the hyper-reality in which we live. How can we relate to the perfect yet distorted world presented to us in this era of manipulated reality, social media and fake news? And what do we encounter when cracks appear in this perfect picture? Sensual dancing virtual creatures, digital slime, furry textures. The boundaries between real and fake, between subject and object, blur in my immersive installations. Thank you so much for listening to me, and if you have any questions, leave them in the chat. Bye!
Thank you so much, Valentina, for this wonderful presentation. I actually have a question right away. Maybe we can do 1 or 2 before we move on. Can you tell me something about what fascinated and interested you in these anthropomorphic forms such as furries?
So it started kind of with the fascination of dog shows, and also in my background of gaming a lot and always creating my own characters. And in a way, somehow I was already a furry before even doing the project. And for me, it was so interesting because one time I watched a documentary about a fandom being like this big weird fetish, but when I was watching it, I already noticed that it didn't felt good the way they portrayed it. So yeah, that's how I started doing more research about it, and connected with some of the furries in the community.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, I love this. It never occurred to me that I could become like a true furry, where you call it, right? I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
how can I be one? Well, anyway, but that's maybe a different thing. But how did apparently it comes from this urge, right, of you to become that. What urge is this? Where did it motivate you to become like that? And how do you feel when you? Okay, I'm so excited. Let my question be clear. How do you feel when you wear a suit, let's say, or when you are a furry, and how is it how does that relate to this digital realm of your characters? Are you all of them, or are they feel different, or are they like the same in physical and digital realms?
Yeah, for me personally, I only experienced a digital persona in VR chat, and I also made my own in real life masks. And for me, I also wear a suit, but it was not my own persona, so I couldn't connect with the suit. But for in the virtual space, if you wear a VR brill, VR glasses,
yeah.
And like in 5 minutes, when you look down, you see your hairy belly and your arms. And when you're wearing a suit, you're very aware that you're wearing a suit, and it's heavy, it's warm. And when you are walking outside, there need to be a caretaker with you to look after you. And in VR chat, there are no boundaries. And when you meet another character, you're already instant in your persona, so you don't have to explain, I'm a furry, I'm wearing this suit. So it's almost realer in a virtual space than being a furry in the real world.
Yeah, oh my god, wow, that's great. Yeah, I love it. Anyway, let's talk. I have lots of more questions, but let's first go to the other presentation of the artist, and at the end we also have a panel discussion, so we can talk about this a little bit more. Excuse me. Taka, we're going now to you and your beautiful presentation. I saw already a little bit, so I know it's beautiful. Taka, you are the godmother, I'm sorry, of the Drag House of Hopeless. You are also a sister for others, and the mother of the Drag King House of Lost Boys, and also proud daughter of Jennifer Hopeless, and co-founder of the nonprofit Drag King Academy in Amsterdam. Taka, you identify as a dragtivist, an educator, a queer theorist, and an independent curator who produces performances as an art director for the Amsterdam sex-positive underground nightclub Church since 2013. And Taka, you see drag as an amplified voice whose purpose is to communicate, problematize, and propose methods according to local conditions. You have shared your knowledge and methodologies for drag mothering, gendered character-based practices, and its intersections with HIV through interviews, lectures, essays, and workshops with various Dutch art institutions and art academies. There's more to your bio, but I think the time is a little bit short. Anyway, you are a miracle entity. Can I summarize it like that? I would like to give you the floor.
Super, thank you again, and I'm also excited. I also want to be a fairy, so let's discuss about later. I'm going to share my screen right now, so hopefully you can all see my screen and you can hear my voice clearly and see my face somewhere in the corner. So today I'm not going to talk about my favorite subject, which is dragtivism and how that plays between equality and equity in the scene of Amsterdam. But I'm going to talk about my Hopeless family, which is located in Club Church. From my mother, Jennifer Hopeless. Club Church is a fetish club, gay fetish club predominantly. And our party, the party that our House of Hopeless operates, is open to all genders and all sexualities every Thursday, where it's actually where our house takes form. So you see in the middle my mother, Jennifer Hopeless, and you see some of my siblings and my aunts in the sides. And as I said in the start, today I would like to invite us to look all of this practice, not through the lens of the dragtivism, but through the lens of the freedom of one to be able to reorganize their own visual characteristics or their organs from their face to their body. As you see in my mother, she has a quite voluptuous hips, and combined with a beard and with this type of huge wig. So here it was when I met the house in 2013. What you see in our hands is like for Begging Babes, a collective, an event that we do once per year, actually one day before today for HIV. And we go around Amsterdam and collect money. But as I said, yeah, it's more to see these characters. And we're a very big family. We're around 35 people. We're a pluricultural family. We come from all sorts of backgrounds. For us, drag does not stop to any particular gender or sexual identity. People come, a lot of my sisters and brothers and siblings are openly HIV, they're openly sex work, they're doing normal jobs as everybody else. Some they're artists, which is again a normal job. But the truth is about all of us, we're freaking real. We're not living into a utopia, and we don't try to optimize the world. We are real people, and that's not an alter ego, it's a part of our identity, and we walk in the streets with that when we like it. And as a matter of fact, the drag house, for people that they look through YouTube right now and might not know, what is a drag house? Is a company that we can all masquerade together, you know? For us, drag is that everybody has their own character, and that character comes from some elements of biofiction. It's a term we're actually borrowed from feminist literature that we take biographical elements and combine it with fiction. Like my mother, Jennifer, is a Greek Australian and is also Greek Australian drag queen. So for her, it's very clear how that biofiction takes place. You can see her here. I want to share photographs of my aunt, sister, kids, and grandkids. And by doing that, I invite you again to observe how each individual is playing with a different way to this type of reorganization to create, let's say, another type of human for that type of reality that we live in. Here you see WikiLeaks, and here I'm going to stay a little bit. A very good aunt of mine, she started dragging up as WikiLeaks in 2010. And why I'm staying to WikiLeaks here, I'm gonna say a small anecdote, is because, you know, for digital medias, Facebook, a drag profile, not a profile like the Taka Taka, not a page, is actually not being concerned as real. So WikiLeaks in 2016 got this email from Facebook, as a lot of other people all around the world, that your profile is not real and you have actually to diminish it and make it into a Facebook page. Thank God of her, she found a lawyer in Los Angeles that was trying to make against Facebook a collective case that we are real and we have real friendships and this is how we are. And thankfully they won that case publicly, so she could keep her profile. In 2018, Facebook approached me and they told me you are not real. And based on that, I got the email from the lawyer, I sent it to them, and they told me, okay, we see in the internet that you do things as Taka, but we still need the proof. So I have to go this dehumanizing process of this heteronormative medium that I have to put my passport next to my face so that I am the real Panayotis, and after drag up as makeup, and so again my passport that I'm still Taka Taka that transformed from Panayotis. So yeah, thank you very much Facebook for all of that. Even though this is my sister, my mother, actually in the drag subculture, the kid chooses the mother. So I call her my mother as well, Jennifer, give me more because she gave me the first pair of high heels. And this is my first daughter, Dino Dada. Now the interesting practice of subcultural drag for me is coming when drag does not deviate for a heteronormative world or does not deviate for a certain sense of binary. I have nothing against the drag in the binary sense, right? I don't talk about trans identities here. Let's not get confused. I'll talk about drag. I have no problem with that. But for me, what I do and how I look is because I feel good with it, but it's also is a queer language made for queer people that doesn't get too much occupied with what's happening in the heteronormative society. So you can see here Dino as well as a tranimal. Tranimal is a practice from 2003 coined from Lee Anderson, the artist, but already like John Waters and the start of the queer theater, John Vaccaro, together with the theater of the Playhouse or the theater of the ridiculous and the coquettes, and a lot of references from the past. So what I'm saying is that we don't do something new where like dinosaurs, these queer people would do something very, very odd, creating, here you can see again Dino, creating these entities. One of my favorite sisters, the trans woman Ariel Freeman Hopeless, came from Jamaica, from Kingston. She was organizing parties there, is a 007 free agent as a vlogger, and is working very close with Extinction Rebellion. So drag activism for us, just to give you a small hint, we're using it as a megaphone for social impact. As much this character is for ourselves, as much is also like to take the attention and actually use it. Now, what is social impact? That needs a whole of story. But for us, has to do mostly with the destigmatization of HIV, with like try to provide safer spaces for clubbing and clubbing awareness, against transphobia, against homophobia, and so on and so forth. And our identities as people, as you see my sister here, Svetlana, it really derives what we construct for where we are coming from. Svetlana is a gay asylum seeker from Ukraine, so she does have still a bit of big problem with Putin till today, or Griselda. But from now on, I invite you to just look how these people choose to reorganize their own facial characteristics, to make, and body characteristics, that type of new human, that as you see, a lot of these photographs are in the streets. My granddaughter, Ladybug, the daughter of Dino Dada, she was always collecting. She has more than 1,000 bags. So her character became that bag, you know. So again, this biofiction, taking elements and allow to create a new reality out of it. Not to go against to what's happening to the heteronormative world, just to live our lives as we always did as queer people. We're a small percent, we're the 5 or 10% of the whole world. This doesn't mean that we don't need to be seen, or we don't need to be able to continue developing our voice and our aesthetics for our people. And the interesting is that this is Jessie Depressy, which I think you also invited with the Queer Arcana to Overkill Festival. She created the Queer Arcana, which is basically queering up the the role-play game Dungeons and Dragons as Draco and Dragons, as a theater play. Lolo Benzina, Basti Lati is a body positive burlesque performer in the city, is doing things with us as well. Banana Muscuri is a Greek hairdresser, which is interesting that Banana Muscuri comes from Nana Muscuri, for the ones that are a little bit older here, and we know Nana Muscuri. Cauliflower, she comes from San Francisco, and she comes from the Cauliflower neighborhood, historical neighborhood there. One that's new in the house, it does not have a name yet, comes from the south of the States. I don't remember exactly the state, excuse me for that. Kitty Pourquoi. Vadi has a lot of face. She started from YouTube, and now she's transforming that into actually theatrical performances. And this is also very interesting to see how it's going to take place. Belle Dommage, I think some of you know, extractionist, great, fantastic person. Ruby Rose, openly police officer and openly a drag performer. So it was very interesting with them that it's not drag performer in daytime, or let's not call it drag, let's call it gendered or genderless performers doing things in the subcultural era. But let's say that performer is openly a police officer and is also openly a drag performer. It doesn't have this night and day, you know, that a lot of times we try to portray that also in the fetish, like banquet in the day, night that. That's not true. That's not true for a lot of queer people. We walk with that identity, as very well Aynouk Tan is doing for ages already in this city. Pussybell, it's a great sister of mine that she's knowing only Dutch as language. I know only English, this broken English that you hear right now as language. So when we come together, our characters always find a way to talk to each other. And that I find important. A lot of these people that you see when we meet with, let's say, our everyday clothes, we really always feel a little bit weird because we are not used to see each other in the day light, like with the normal clothes. This is how we know, and this is how we relate to each other. And strong man, of course, very important. Every house has to have a strong man, no? Lisa de la Monde, a great crossdresser, heterosexual crossdresser, going to the streets from the morning like that. So here are the phases and phases of Taka. And this sentence here says consistent and inconsistent. Why? When I started in 2013, I was really annoyed how the RuPaul era in drag start brand each individual drag queen that they have to have one particular signature that everybody knows. So my practice till today, after organizing more or less 400 parties in church and doing it weekly for all of these years, it became every time to have a different character. And why that was so important to me, because I was lucky and privileged enough in Athens to study makeup. So every time that I open my suitcase, based on my mood on that day, I create a look that starts from my face. And that was very important because I didn't want to be branded such as one thing, because that for me was going very much to be one particular capitalistic entity, you know? And that way, you know, as Tom Waits said in one point, you know, if you're continually transforming, you cannot get hit as a target. So that my goal, it was not to entertain our queer public. It was basically the barman to do not recognize me. So they always ask me money for a drink, you know? So I was like, that's fantastic, how I can create this. And of course, it has always like, it comes one from the other. So far I have 5 characters. The main character is Taka Taka. Another one, this one, for example, is Nancy. This one is Saturday O'Connor. I have Fadel. And one more that I forget the name. Saturday O'Connor, Fadel, Nancy, Coca-Cola. You're gonna see Coca-Cola in a minute. I love Coca-Cola. So you see what I mean? It's all of this like different thing. It's almost like what are you seeing right now? It's almost like my emotional diary. Huh? Every week is different, and it's really based on where I feel and what I experience that week. I try not to tend to name things as masculine and feminine, because that for me is a little bit of dangerous era. I name things more for myself as round shapes and more square shapes. In that way, you know, because always we say, she looks feminine, she's soft. And the truth is that we have kind of society internalized that women are softer because they have round shapes. And that for me is a very big discussion, you know. So yeah, some shapes here are more round, some shapes here are more square, right? In that way. And as I say, yeah, it's a real thing. If I want between the night or so to go to supermarket like that, happily I'm going to do it. Not to confront people, as I believe somebody can wear the very like nice suit and go to the street with that masculine energy and walk around. I also have the right, specifically in the post-gay liberated Amsterdam, to go out like that and do my thing, no? And we're privileged enough to have that. So let's continue doing this. You see that my drag is a little bit of fusion here, a lot of Greek references together with the Marxist thing and together with the American flag. That was when my drag started. So yeah, it was very biofictional, 2015 in terms of how I was interpreting the costume. Here, basically, I'm outside of European Union, the same moment that our prime minister, I'm Greek, let's say, our prime minister, he was inside in 2015 to try to negotiate the referendum. So I went there alone with my drag. And as you see in the right corner of the photograph, you see a photographer. I didn't know that person, but that's the interesting, but also the responsibility of drag. As much you are in the type of costume, you take the attention. So the question is what you do with it, you know? Yeah, that day I started giving that manifesto around, very ineffective manifesto, to be honest. And it was very, very rainy. So I packed my things and I traveled back to Amsterdam. But you know, where this character becomes reality, and it's a suitcase, you carry it around, you're where it becomes real, you put it again inside, and it's again this thing. So here you see photographs like with knitted things. But basically that's my biological mother, Mimi. That's the mother that gave the actual birth to me. And you see all of these nice hats that she's wearing. Here is in her farm in Greece. We live out of the Athens. We live in a farm with a lot of olive trees. And in 2018, we start collaborating. She starts making clothes, garments for me, made out of knitted things, and designing them. So I'm not saying to her what to make. She's designing that. And to be honest with you, my mother is the real queer mother here. She was always like that. She queered the shit out of me. She told me to walk in the streets like that. She told me that if never try to have a discussion with a donkey behind their legs, they're gonna try to kick me, is no point. So I think she really actually, yeah, big respect to that person, big respect to that woman. She even putting the things, the sketch to my father and send me the photographs to see if I like it or not, or what I think about it. Poor man. So you see here is wearing one of the last ones, and you see here me wearing the same thing. So my job, let's say, my goal became what type of characters I can create, that I can challenge my mother's imagination. So she was free to create whatever likes for me. And don't get her wrong, she's a village woman, she can really understand aesthetics, and she was always playing with her image, even in that small village. So I saw to her what's happening in the drag scene in Amsterdam and how we can deviate for certain norms. And we start creating that. And that's actually how I'm going and I'm teaching to art academies. That's how I'm going and I'm waiting a taxi. Or when I want to make a photo shoot, I take a book that I happens to read and yeah, something that I'm not so happy to have in my life, but yeah. So here last year we make the first photo shoot together. She was the photographer, she wanted to do that. And she wanted to put me with her costume to prune the trees as she's doing. So, and that was never a project. We really like about ourselves, you know, that's all about. We're just making our own reality and we live in that reality with her. Is my mother belonging to the queer scene in Athens or in Greece? No. Is she making her own queer scene as one individual? Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I give a big respect to her. Do you see this photograph? It says my mother meets my mother. In 2020, when the corona situation started, my drag mother was in Greece. And I asked her if she can go from my village to pick up these actual costumes. So I was so excited that day, folks, because my drag mother was meeting my mother for something that they both have actually helped me, and more than helped me, push me in the good sense to be. These two people met because of character construction, because of garment, because of the law of gender subversion. I was so excited that I had these people in my life, and they were finally meeting based on this creation. And as Anthony Nestel, which is a person that I think is doing great research by being part of my workshops, describe it. Anthony Nestel is from the performance studies of Utrecht, says that my mother facilitated a transformation that is unknown to me and unknown to her. So that's the kind of new human that I'm talking about. She didn't know what she was doing when we start, and we still don't know. So this transformation is really unknown to each other, you know. It's not about to optimize it, to sell it out or something for social media, you know, how we see nowadays, the drag culture. It looks so homogeneous and identifying. And let's give you a small example here. Like, I have nothing against, I respect everybody's wearing Dr. Martens or heels or whatever. I have nothing against commercial or conservative drag performance. I respect all of them and the shows and RuPaul. But from one hand to the other, as Aynouk knows also very well from the way that they look, the thing is that when queer aesthetics reaching the television to reach the heteronormative living room, they're grinding their sharp edges because they want to be understood in order to be actually sold, you know, to a bigger mass. And that for me is a big problem, because in this television program, we see only the 5% of all the type of queer expressions that have passed from the history. And yeah, that I think is also the problem that we see today with the social media, Instagram-based queens, because most of my performances cannot even be public because they contain nudity, or how I'm calling them, I'm just not wearing clothes. I'm not naked, I'm just not wearing clothes. Or they're containing sexual things. So they can actually, this media and all of these competitions, you can actually also formulate aesthetics for queer people. And that's a little bit the tricky thing. So in 2018 to 19, 2018, as a producer and art director for the club, I was getting very annoyed that I was going to events and drag performers like inclusivity. And I see always like 20 cis gay boys or non-binary bodies coming from that perspective. And one woman only, one drag king only. And I was like, wait a minute, how we talk about inclusivity here and we have only one of them? So what I tried to do is that together with Julio Stallion, we turned the club into a para-educational model before the club opens, and we try to create education and find people. We publish, and thank God Facebook helped us, we publish this thing on Facebook by creating very specific type of aesthetics for drag king culture. We published that thing on Facebook, and these people came out. And we start meeting together, and I got all the drag kings of the city, and I asked them if they can actually teach these new people and learn skills and start sharing things together. So these were the first generation teachers and people for the predominantly reason to look at each other. You know, also from bell hooks and other people, how important is the gaze and how empowering or dehumanizing can be. Empowering when you're being looked from queer people, right? Queer people looking queer people in a safer environment. So we start by looking at each other and performing for each other in a closed club, in a closed gay club, all of this subjectivity. Take the word drag king here with a sort of grain, but I think it's very important because very open how we do that. It's very important to establish also drag king culture in Amsterdam. This is why we have that word. Here's the father, Julius Stylia. I love Julius. So, unlike the hopeless, this house, the Lost Boys, these people, they were being born all on the same day. Here you see like my first kids. So they were all born the same day, and that also is something interesting collectively because they don't bring everybody their own luggage and identity and experience and drag ego. By being born the same day, it's actually more about their community doing things together. So you see them, Liri, and again, I believe in, so in one point, they all came and like, okay, from Drag King Academy, actually we can formulate our own house. I was like, yeah, let's go for it. And that was the house. And of course, guys, we're not like a homogeneous dance company. We all look very different. That's so important to me. It's not a matter about the aesthetics and aesthetic pleasing. It's about everybody being able to be their beyond self, let's say, you know, that idea. And that maybe is not like the most like visual pleasing thing, but my kids feel happy with how they are. And that's very important to me. So they throw also the first party, of course, like with free entrance to the club, so they could come and their people can meet their sociality. And they start performing for queer people, where for me can be very healing, and not healing in a stupid sense of like bringing back to a state of normativity, healing in order to cope with certain traumas or certain things and experience that you have. And they start going out together. And that was it. I think that gave you something, and I hope you observe the characters in different construction and how they look. So, right now,
oh my God, Tak, I just want to say, wow, this is so inspiring. This is so great. Thank you so much for.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. My God. Like I'm in awe. Like I cannot speak. I can only speak, and now I cannot speak. So this is. It's beautiful. Yeah, I have so many questions, but please, you have also a little assignment for us, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, please elaborate.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. If the people from the house, they do not have a printer, where most of us we don't, please take a paper and take some markers, colorful one, pencil, whatever you have around, and design that very simply in a paper, just like in an A4 paper or smaller if you have. Doesn't matter so much. Just design that outline. Yes. I'm gonna give you around 1 minute to find your markers and try to design it. And while I'm doing that, I'm just gonna also talk about that phase. That phase that you see here, folks, is the phase that MAC, the cosmetic company, thought in 2000 that as a phase chart, that this is the optimal women's face. For me, looks very Western or very Eurocentric, to be honest. And I think a lot of beauty and aesthetic companies have done monstrosities to create specific aesthetics. So take this face as you have. You have around 30 more seconds to just draw the outline and a little bit some eyes. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just need some lip, some nose, some outline, and some eyes. And when you have done that, in 20 more seconds, I'm gonna tell you what we do with these markers next to us. It's a very fast assignment to just demonstrate what I'm talking about reorganization. And I'm gonna give you to each of these, okay. I assume that all of us were kind of having the line. So I'm going to give to each of us 2 minutes here, okay? That I think is okay, Aynouk, right? Or I have the time?
Yeah, no. So now we drew the face on a paper, right?
Yeah, and if you have done that, yeah. Yeah, just drew the face, you have done that, right?
I've done that, yes.
Perfect. And now for the next 2 minutes, I want you like that to go in that paper that you draw and draw whatever you like. Draw whatever you like. But think while you're drawing, how can I subvert, play with the eyes? Do I need 2 eyes? Do I need the shape of lips? Do I need smaller lips or I can make it bigger? Do I need the nose or I can make a big clown circle? You see, like I'm using my ears, the ears that I have and my nose, my real nose and my real ears, I'm using it as a pedestal to actually create my own nose. So if you don't agree with the eye that you design, make a bigger one, you know? Yeah. So it's a little bit about, but also this face has what I call round shape. You know, they had made it for a woman. Yeah. So this shape that you see, it influences what we can draw. So play with that a little bit, see what you accept, what you don't accept, what you like to make more square to this face. Maybe you neglect half of the lip. Maybe you make the other half of the lip. So you got it. You have 1 minute more to just kind of finish with that. And be fast. Don't think about it. Just allow yourself to take this freedom to reorganize these organs of this face in a way that you think makes sense.
Yeah, it's a very intuitive assignment. Huh?
Totally. Bravo.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love this.
And it's gonna go on for 30 more seconds.
Oh God.
Yeah. So it's because we have like two more papers.
Yes.
So you're gonna see. And later you can revisit. And of course you are lucky because you got in a folder. So if you have kids, like biological kids, please print it and let them to play. Let them to play, you know, to take things out, you know? Because kids don't seem to see gender like till 7. When they go to school and the normativity starts, then they think it's complicated, no? So
there goes wrong.
2 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
That was it. Thank you, loves. We're going to the second one. Design that one now. As you see, it's missing pupils and it's what we call here a little bit more angled. The shape is a little bit more angled. So, and you see the lips already start not being very determined, designed as the nose. So design on the outside of the lips, a little bit of a nose, a little bit of a lip, and a bit squarish perigram. And I give you like 30 more seconds for design that. I know I ask to go fast, but sometimes fastness take a lot of old things out and slow things coming up from fastness.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we got it, I think.
You got it? Super.
Yep.
So you got now less time. Now you got a minute to go in the top of this face and redesign whatever you like. Intuitively, as Aynouk said before.
Yep.
Just do whatever you like.
Okay.
And remember, what do I agree? Do I want 2 eyes? So I shut the fuck up and I give you a minute. Thirty more seconds. Ten. Perfect, super. And let's go to the last one. Which is this? Just make a perigram line. It's gonna take us like 20 seconds max to make a perigram line, right? Just a perigram. And this is for me how the drag process starts. I hope the perigram is there.
Yes, we're there, yes.
Let's go 1 more minute. And now design whatever you like. And this assignment you're gonna see by designing I think you're gonna all experience, or hopefully some of you, that the reorganization is actually happening the third paper by being blank, you know? And I think something very freeing to me there. And a lot of times when I do that with my students or with my drag kids, I see that there they get the real freedom to put another eye or no lips or a circle or an X or an arrow. So you have around 20 more seconds. Ten. And that's it. Thank you for your attention.
Wow.
And remember just one thing, loves. Your face is yours. So whatever you like or whatever you don't agree, just throw it out of the window and try to go in the top and do whatever you like in your life. Love you all.
Oh, thank you, Taka. This is amazing. It was so much. Oh my God, it was like right, Manique? What do you think?
I love this assignment.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's also good to say that we have to take a little bit track of time, but this was it was very well. Anyway, it's all great. You're all great. Oh my God. Anyway, let's for the people at home, take a picture of your drawing if you made some. Also, maybe the speakers that are here, and you can send it during Clara's presentation to. Oh, that's beautiful. We can send it to marie@overkill.nl. I think Niels, part of the team of Overkill, will put it in the chat. So just send your picture there, and during the panel discussion, then we can have a look at them. I will also do it right now. So before or now, so do that. And then now we're going to our third and last speaker, which is Clara Saito. This is the way I pronounce it, right, Clara, or no? Yeah? Okay. You still here?
I'm here.
Yeah, great. Okay, Clara, you're a performance artist based in Amsterdam. You did the School for New Dance Development. You graduated in 2004. And you are interested in performance as a tool to explore and expand the limits of the self and its possibilities to enact effective changes in the world. In your most recent works, you put on the relation she puts in relation three of her main characters: Kurt Dick Riot, Lady Dada, and a confused version of Clara Saito. These characters have been performing solo and together since 2014. And if I'm not mistaken, in your presentation, you will also elaborate on the character of Lady Dada. So Clara, in each presentation, your personalities and moods evolve as they are deeply connected to the current events and to the artist's authentic experiences. Also, your bio goes on a little bit more, but I think in terms of time also, we will just look at your presentation and we will learn more about your work. So let's see it.
Today I will introduce two works in the connection with the theme Beyond Human. So the first one is called Diva the Dog. It's a work where I have been trying to put myself in the position of a dog for a month. I tried first to do this because I wanted to get rid. I was very annoyed with social rules and constructs and wanted to kind of put myself in a situation where I didn't have to deal with it in the same way. So I was thinking about the freedom of the dog to sniff and to not like and to go away or approach humans that they like or that they don't like, or leave when they don't like it. And I didn't manage to find all of these things, but today I will focus more on the things that did find. So I'm gonna show you a bit from the videos. It's a movie, and it happened in the space of a month. Like every day I did in the beginning it was supposed to be around 8 hours per day, but it was also very hard to first of all calculate the 8 hours and then to maintain it for over a month. So I have been doing some sessions of 24 hours in the maximum, and sometimes my friends were bringing me to the beach for a walk or to the forest, and then it would last the time of the walk, which was allowing also other things to happen and to have focus on different things. So I started the work without really knowing or without giving me a lot of rules about how to become this dog. I wanted to learn somehow in the doing, and this is one of the first days of the of the dog practice. One of the things that really struck me from the beginning was the smells that were coming. This was in the garden of my house, and the smells that were coming from the herbs and the weeds that you could find in the garden, and the differentiation between the weeds. And this somehow kept me very busy to focus on the weeds and find out about my environment and to be on the ground. And also I had this very big difference or contrast between being inside and being outside, realizing that inside on the level of the dog there is not so much smell that would come from like the ground of the inside of the house. So it was very interesting to see how sad it felt or how boring it felt when I was inside. How outside always was a way richer experience. What was also interesting is that this time I had a lot of difficulties to sleep, and the practice of the dog somehow kept me very in the present, connected to my senses, and somehow it made me ease my way into sleep, and I was suddenly able to sleep several times per day, and I was really surprised by that. So it definitely opened some kind of possibilities in my head of what was possible for myself as a human also to experience. I had also 2 dog friends before. I didn't train so much before becoming a dog, but I took care of 2 dogs. One was Cubus, very young and a very fast and energetic dog, and Rex, a very old and very grumpy and slow dog. It was very important for me to have these 2 images in my head because my body was not as fast as Cubus, so it was good to have the example remaining of Rex inside of me, to be able to take time and to be grumpy also about things when I needed to. Of course, each dog comes with their own personality, and this was important to see that that I didn't need to be a happy, fast dog all the time. So this is a moment with Cubus where we were playing in the garden. She became my best friend, and she really considered me like another animal or like a friend at this moment. I think she could recognize the change of level when I was standing and when I would go down, and it happened once on the beach that she was running away with a lot of dogs very far away, and when she realized from very far that I came to the ground, she immediately came to play with me because she recognized that was our friend level. So that was very cool. She also started to do prohibited things in front of me, which she would never do while I was being a human, so I felt like we were able to share secrets. We were also digging a lot of holes together, and she would always wait for me to dig the hole and then smell it and decide to either dig further or refill, and then she would stay and ignore the hole from this moment. So yeah, and then again I go back to sleep. So it was a very I mean, there was a lot of other things that happened, but maybe we can stay a bit in this mood for for today. Another work that I did, which is very different but also connected to this theme, it's how to cure bacterial vaginosis, and it stars Lady Dada, my character. She's a rock star in performance art, and she wants to teach people how to. She started by trying to teach people how to become famous with performance art. So her goal was she was really looking for fame and for money and for being mainstream, or trying to get to this mainstream, until she found out about a lot of other things that were happening, and she decided to take other problems in her own hands and talk about these problems. One of them was like how to cure bacterial vaginosis, and she experienced bacterial vaginosis for 5 years, and she got frustrated with the answers of the doctors, and she decided to make her own research and to make a tutorial about it. She also dived for this work in the world of bacteria and the bacteria that were in her body, and I will show you a bit. This is Vicky the Quickie, is her assistant vagina, and she added some colorful hair to it to make it a bit more happy. And I will just show you the beginning, and then we can keep on talking about it. So this is the bacterial vaginosis with the bacteria flowing out of the vagina and getting us into a world of bacteria. And this is just the intro, but it's a bit also what she's doing to try to understand what is happening inside of her.
Hello everybody, my name is Lady Da 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 Lady Da Lady Da Da. And today I would like to give you some tips on how to cure bacterial vaginosis. I had a recurrent bacterial vaginosis in the last 5 years. I went to many doctors to find out what I had. I had many wrong or no answers at all. I have been prescribed wrong medication on purpose so that they could refer me to a gynecologist who told me as only advice to not worry too much. So I decided to take it on my own hands and to go to the internet and find out what I had.
So in this work, Lady Dada is going a bit inside like her bacteria's life, and she finds out that antibiotics are killing good and bad bacteria, which means that once the good bacteria are killed and the bad bacteria, if your body is not in balance, the wrong bacteria will always come stronger first, which will create a cycle of a loop of bad bacteria going and returning. So she found out a lot of remedies or natural remedies that would help the good bacteria to strive, and she realized that, for example, fibers is feeding good bacteria, and that good bacteria are the only one who can fight naturally bad bacteria by creating gas, and she found out about probiotics, and which probiotics is the good one that would fight the bad bacteria for her. So it was nice in this sense to be to somehow like in the like this video was presented together with an installation, and the installation I wanted to show. So there was like these curtains where the bacteria, good and bad, were floating in, and this kind of vagina with bacteria as well. People could observe the video inside of this bacterial world. In the installation, the first day, there was also a presentation where a tarot reader would read the cards for my bacterias. So it was nice to shift the center to myself towards the bacterias, and somehow the bacterias had a lot to say. Through this tarot reading, they said that they were, for example, unhappy with my sexual partners, and that they want to have more agency in which other bacteria they want to to accept, and which bacteria they want to refuse, and over my life in general. And it felt nice through this work and through this reading to give in somehow to them, to what they needed, and to be at their service. I think it's something that I didn't think about in this way before. I thought always that I was the center of my body, but actually it doesn't need to be that way, and for sure for bacteria that's not the way that they always think, maybe. Or I would imagine, I would not know, but it's good to at least make this shift sometimes, so it was important for me. So yeah, I hope this was not very confusing, and that you enjoyed, and maybe we can talk more during the after talk. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Clara, for this presentation and showing us your work. Let's invite everyone back so we can have the panel discussion. Please don't forget to, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will ask them. But first, I would love to start with a question for everyone, actually. That is, what do you want to be if you had the option to become something else than human? Who would like to go first? Maybe Aynouk can start.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I got so much inspiration today. I think I want to be and a furry and this non-defined entity of transformation. I think, Taka, you also used a very beautiful word, reorganization, right? That was the word. I think that is very inspiring, and I think I saw a lot of options today, which I can be. Yeah, like Taka said, I'm also busy with this for a very long time. So I'm also wondering, Valentina, maybe to start with you, to become a furry. How do you do that? Where do you start?
So for some furries, first you need to create a persona. So you come up with a name, persona. So not like a person, but like a character. And you can take some elements that are characteristics of yourself, but maybe you can be totally anonymous and then sketch it in almost like a cartoony way. But you can also have an almost like a furry psychiater, and you can have a I can't say the word. Psychiatrist, yeah. And you have like a conversation, and she or he takes these elements and sketch it out for you in this beautiful drawing, and then you have like a layout of a persona, and after that you can choose to make it in a suit or in a virtual avatar, but you can also just have your persona on paper. So it's not necessary to make the suit or be in a virtual space. You can just say online, just by chatting or by calling, that you are that persona. So you can be somebody else without even having like the physical
avatar or body.
Yeah, so it can exist in multiple forms, just maybe on a paper, like we did with Taka, or just in a chat room on a certain platform, right? If I understand correctly.
Yeah, and even some personas, almost like Pokemon, change their appearance. So they have one time they have wings, and then so it's all very for some furries it's also very personal. If something happens in their life, you can also see it in their appearance.
I see there a connection also with Taka, because you in your presentation, Taka, you burned a certain something. That was you, right? Am I mistaken? I think that was you, right, Taka?
What I burn?
Yeah, didn't you burn anything, or was it Valentina? Oh my
Valentina.
God, that's you.
Yeah,
oh my God,
yeah.
No. Well, then
Taka, you also talked about it being like an emotional document. So maybe there's also some similarity in that.
It's also like for me, like wearing these things of my mother also give me very much a feeling of being surrounded of her, because I really miss her and I really love her. So it's something that I might in a way connect with the fairies. Not only the image, I guess, it's also like how it makes me feel wearing the things that's in it and they're surrounding my body, you know. Matter of fact, when people ask me, they tell me, who make that? I'm saying my mother. I think that straightforward might change the relationship that people think that a son or a person can have with their mother, you know. And I think this very archetypical thing of people knitting clothes. For me, when I started wearing her costumes, they were not anymore about how do I look. It was how do they make me feel, you know. And I think that feeling actually makes me very warm, you know.
Yeah, that you express from this emotional intention, basically. Clara, you were a dog, a character or persona, entity for a while. You also perform this notion of Lady Dada. I don't know if performance is the right word, but anyway, you made works around that. Do you recognize something in what Valentina and Taka say in terms of the emotion you put in there?
In terms of emotion, I always feel that that it always already exists, the emotion that is in every character. So it feels like there is always, I connect to this realness that Taka was talking about, that there is always something that is already there and that maybe is not able to express in my everyday life, but it needs to be expressed at some point somewhere. And maybe it's the dog, maybe it's Lady Dada, maybe it's Kurdic Riot, but it comes out this way. And I feel like the stage or the digital world is always a free space somehow, where it's really like a space where there is like, where you can be this character without the constraints of outside. And so, yeah, for sure, I feel like connection to that.
And how was that when you were making the dog movie? Yeah, you really were on your hands and knees. You have a lot of dog friends also. How did that feel? Was that an eye-opening experience for you, or was it also hard?
It was also very hard. The connection with humans was very hard. I find out about how humans are cold. I think what I was sad about as a human, I felt it 10 times more as a dog. But there was also a very amazing experience of like people who were super sweet. Like there was a day that I was in the street in the center, and people were very aggressive with me. And there is a woman who came and suddenly started to caress my head, and she was the only person who was having such a soft attention to me, and it really shifts. Like, yeah, then you start to see more like the vibe of people somehow. Like it becomes very pure. Is this person good for me or not good for me? It becomes very clear somehow. So yeah, there was for sure good and bad, but very important experiences about almost like a sociological experiment about humans in the end.
Manique, do you have a...
Can I ask something? Can I react to this?
Sure.
Yes. No, because I'm curious. Then now that you don't live as a dog, or you don't, is it something you still have in your relation to other living entities? This recognizing if something is good or bad for you?
I have it less intuitively, but I trust, I mean, less clear, but I trust it more somehow. Somehow when it was even more clear when I was becoming out of the practice of the dog. For example, I would do 8 hours and I would start talking with someone. I would always feel like their words won't match their movement, and it became a very strong feeling. And now I don't have it that clear, but I have this intuition of like, oh, if I feel a bad vibe about someone, I will try to trust it more than I would do before. And I think this is, maybe an important learning somehow.
Yeah, Valentina, is this also something you recognize, that you, when you are a fandom, right? Oh my God, I love this new language around. We call this, we were, because in the preparation we were also talking about how should we call this, and then we said just beyond human, but I think we can now have different words for it, like fandom and biofictional, biofiction, right, Taka, which you said, or anthropomorphic animal, if I pronounce correctly. What kind of characteristics, Valentina, when you are in a fandom, do you take also? How does that get created? This character, and what characteristics can you find within yourself in that sense?
So within the furry fandom, there are also sometimes, just like with dogs, different breeds. And for me, for example, I was a Dutch angel dragon, and the persona was like, she looked like a dragon, almost like what I draw with the assignment of Taka. And for me, it was very freeing that I had a tail and big wings, so I could teleport myself in the VR space. And for me, that was a kind of way of an extra layer of freedom. In a way, that was really important for me to have those wings. And also for the video work that I've made, you had like the coming out story of Seffi. And I actually created her persona for herself, because we had this very personal conversation just in a telegram conversation. And then I created it for her in a digital space. So it was actually for her the first time seeing herself as a persona, telling her story. So that was also very emotional and special moment.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I'm just imagining it. It's wow.
Can I please also react to something that Clara said earlier, which I found really interesting. That made me think that when we move to forms beyond the human form, do we encounter what humans really are? Because you told us that they were really cold, as an example.
I think in a way, if we approach something that is more authentic, is always a tricky word, but something that you yourself define as authentic inside of yourself, then maybe it creates some distance to humans who don't try to find it, maybe. And it's possible that I don't know which one is more human. I don't know if the human is more human or the non-human becomes more human, actually, because it's more real. But it's for sure a question, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and can I, or Manique, you want to say something?
No, I would love to take it a bit further, because I was also thinking about Taka, what you told us about WikiLeaks, and also your own Facebook profile, that they were not real. Can you maybe elaborate a bit more on the notion of what is real and what is not real in terms of also online and physical?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you an example first for physical. I think what I do is when I go out to the street, I'm in a club or it's daytime, I have to teach and it's 9 o'clock. I had observed something similar as a Clara Saito, that my character becomes all of a sudden a sociological X-ray. Within 2 to 3 to 5 seconds, I can see from the expression of somebody how they relate to it, because they cannot hide, or they go like that. They go, yeah, that's very, very interesting. But always they ask, what are you? And with the years, I tend to ask them back, if I have the time, what do you think that I am? And somehow they always say something about gender. And I'm like, is this really the first thing that you see in this character? Or is that important to you to categorize me then through a gendered understanding? From the other hand, when I meet kids, the kids don't care. This is what I have experienced. They're gonna come close to you. Most of the times they come close to you like a magnet. And there I'm observing how parents relates to them. And if you like, I have observed these two modes. When the kid wants to come close, or they keep it the hand of them, squeeze it to keep it very close to them, or they let it. And when they let it to go, the kid approaches me. When the kid approaches me, I always lower my height, something that also Clara does with the dog, becomes that part of physical. So I lower my height in order to come a little bit equal. This is as well why I'm not wearing heels as a performer, because I want to be very approachable for somebody, because I like to talk with them. So if I don't wear shoes, I wear sneakers, and I'm not a very tall person, I'm like 173. So in that way, it's for me, reality has to do with ways of approaching each other. So like, how do you approach me and what I do with it? This is what I'm saying always to my drag kids, especially to parents with kids. Even if the parents are not good to you, it's a responsibility to break the prototype of the bitchy or the not so, bitchy is not the right word, the not so well-attended drag performer. And I think sweetness in that way, as a mode even of performance, like give a smile and see. And I really believe on this, again, in a society that they can do that and get not very tricky, because even in Amsterdam, when people ask me, and then I change a little bit the orientation in the subject, when the people ask me, is it safe, Amsterdam? And I'm like, yeah, on paper it's safe. As a lived experience, what time? Let's play 9 o'clock in the morning, or let's play like 12 o'clock the night full of tourists, right, Aynouk? There are two different things. What time? Amsterdam after people playing football or not? So all of that is part of that reality, So I think it's energy levels, if I can use that word, that we charge the city. So every street, every moment is changing is reality based on what has happened, This is why that's an X-ray. Now in Facebook, to go very, very fast, in terms of social media, I think for a drag performer always become a matter of representation. And that can get a little bit difficult, Manique, because I think we're posing ourselves in front of a camera, and there are a lot of different audience can see it, and a lot of different conclusions can come into the play. So there, I don't know anymore so much for me as drag performer what is real, because it really depends on a collectivist, on somebody or that's gonna like write to me, oh, you look like a hoe or that. And matter of fact, I have done that to my Instagram account a lot of times. When I'm wearing fishnet and a little bit of a dress, people seem to write me personal messages to hook up, or to write me personal messages to bash me. When I'm like, as a character like that, they write me things, you're such an artist. And that always makes me think, Manique, yeah, you know, I have the privilege to know makeup and to study it. But what about the people that don't know and they don't have such a good look, or they cannot do that? What about them? And it still seems, you know, today and always gonna be like that. I think that society, yeah, somebody that has male characteristics and is wearing a dress, they always find it a little bit problematic, you know. So it's funny to me that like that, as being interpreted as a real artist and with a fishnet and a dress, I'm the whole. So, you know, and that I really observed in the digital world a lot with the looks, that they really move through the binary a lot. I hope that I cover you a little bit in a way.
I think it's very interesting that you place some critique and comments also in the digital space, that Facebook creates these systems in which you have to relate to in a way, and they create norms which you have to abide to. While it's also interesting, yesterday and the day before we were also talking about that, and a lot of people also said the digital space feels more safe to me, because when I sometimes walk the street, I feel that I can get attacked or something like that. Valentina, how do you see that the digital? Do you see that also as a? Do you recognize something what Taka says, that you got also more kept into a lock, or in a stereotype, or is the digital space a more free space for you? Because you are also talking about people that do not dare to come out as a true furry, if I remembered correctly.
Yeah, true. Yeah, what I also said was like when you are wearing the suit, the only safe space actually for you is at a convention. They have like this convention, yeah, almost like a cosplay convention, but it's all different. But that's because everyone knows what you are and what your interests are. So yeah, when you go outside, it's actually very dangerous because you don't know how people might interact with you. It's funny because kids see you as almost like a mascot, like American football mascot or a big teddy bear. But like with the older people, they don't really like what you're doing. So the only real safe space is like in the digital space, where you also don't have the boundaries of wearing the suit, and everybody is in character in the visual space, so you don't have to explain yourself what you are, and it's a way easier to communicate, even not with furries but other characters you interact in the virtual spaces. So yeah, in a way I can really relate to what Taka's saying, that in the real world you need to make some adjustments with the audience you are interacting with.
Yeah, this is also, I think because Valentina, you are also talking about community a lot, right? You go to these conventions and you meet online. Taka, I mean, your whole presentation was about community. Clara, you did things more individually, which how important is community for you in creating also the work that you do?
It's a good question for me, I think. In the past, I was more doing shows in the Frankrijk and with the character Kurdic Riot. And for me, it was really important to start there and to have this safe space, to have people, I mean, the feeling of knowing that you're going to perform and that whatever mistake you do, it's going to be so supported. Like everybody's going to scream for you and support you. And it felt always like so comfortable to be able to play there. And it's for sure something that I'm not, well, also with the pandemic is a bit difficult to have this happening, but I think it's something that I carry. I think this support, it stayed inside of me, somehow it stays inside of me, and I can transport it wherever else I try to perform. I try to imagine this cheering and this support when it comes, and it really helps to go through whatever I have to put myself on stage, that I decided to have this feeling inside of me also of this community.
Great.
I actually have a question from the chat. Let me just see, from Hobo Sub. How do the many problems human society has with gender translate to the beyond human societies? Do you see the same struggles within the beyond human societies?
I think that's a question for Taka, because it's maybe revolves more around gender.
It could be, but I think it's also very, very interesting as well from Clara's, as well from the side
Yeah,
of
well, whoever wants to answer. I put the question in the chat just to be sure that you also see it. Go ahead, Taka.
Okay, I'm just gonna say, okay, from the person that wrote the question, it's very interesting, and if you were in front of me, I'm gonna also ask you what you define and be as a beyond human society. But in a small in a small answer, I think I'm gonna take a very rational approach to say that in the Netherlands, a lot of times as well, we hear that the politicians say that we live in a fully emancipated society and things have actually progressed. And I highly do not believe this, because in that way, if we live in a beyond human society, I want to see education about gender from the primary school, from the high school. I want to see the stigmatization of HIV from the high school, and education around STDs for the minorities, and how all of this intersects with different types of minorities. So I think we have a very, very long way to go, even the post-gay liberated society, if we are thinking that we are emancipating. So what I'm saying is that it's a constant evolution, and we should never stop putting our rights up front for the ones that we can do it, of course. And actually, it's very, very sad that we're still gonna need people like that doing it. We are not strong individuals, just actually what has to happen. And some of us will have the honor to be part and do that. And in any type of society that you put me in, you put in Mars, people always, when moments of crisis arrive, they always gonna create. That history has proved even with Corona. They always gonna create separationalism, and they always gonna create divisions. That's my answer.
Valentina, did you wanted to say something, or did you just raise your hand on? Okay, no, Clara? You want to answer this question?
No, I just agree with Taka. That's all what I wanted to say.
Okay. Hey, we have still 2 minutes to go, so that's not much, but this is amazing. I just want to pose also the last question in relation to the work we did with Taka, because I just wanted to ask, and I think Marie, can we show the faces people drew? Yeah. Well,
yes,
while
yes.
you. Sorry?
Yes.
Okay, well, while you get that, maybe I can also ask the other people, where, if you want to become this, well, bio-fictional person, or the anthropomorphic animal, or a true furry, where can we start? I mean, I think Taka already gave a great example about where to start, just by drawing and just by putting your imagination on the paper. But where else can we start? For instance, Clara, with you become this dog. Where do you start? But there's also a lot of, it's not always easy, I think, to start to get into this another realm. And what would you like to maybe give an advice to people who want to explore that more? Maybe Valentina?
Yeah, so also with creating a persona, it starts by drawing. And for me, the first time I wanted to enter a Facebook group about the furry fandom, I introduced myself as an artist, and they were like, no people who are watching us. So then I tried a different group, and I left out that I was an artist, but I'm still really interested about the fandom. So I told them I had three dogs, and I also play a lot of Animal Crossing and watch a lot of anime manga with also anthropomorphic characteristics. And then I was immediately part of the group, and I shared pictures of my dogs. I shared my drawings of my persona, and so you can just take a step back and look what you already are, or your interests are, and share that with other people, and then you can grow eventually involving in the character or persona or a different identity what you want. So
Great. Maybe it's also great if and we can put it also in the YouTube link later for people who will rewatch that, to put some links maybe in the chat of groups, or you can join, or maybe the hopeless groups, you know, to give people also the opportunity to get inspired and to explore multiple sides of themselves, or in digital or in physical space. I think it's very important that we need examples like you to get you over a certain normative notion of what it is to be a human, because it's not always easy to overcome the internalized shame. Well, also speaking for myself. Marie, can we see the pictures?
Yes. So wait. Oh yeah, okay. Wait, I have to share my screen. Share. You will see my messy screen. And do you see my screen now? Yes. Sorry. Do you see this?
Yeah.
Yes. So we start. I don't know if I have to say the name, but this is like the first drawing on the top, the second drawing on the bottom, and the third drawing is here. So great evolution. Then I received this.
Oh,
that was somebody who drew directly on the computer. And that was so the first phase. This is the second phase. And I would not dare to comment myself, but you can all, I don't know, build stories, I guess. This is, they are all the three together, so then we can see the evolution here. Somebody who had very cool tools at home.
Mm.
Oh, this is so nice.
Yeah, it's like a lemon.
Yeah, a smiling lemon or something. So, and then this one. Okay, so I can admit this one was mine. And we had, yeah, I did not receive the third one, so I can only show the first.
This is the third. This is mine.
Sorry. So this was the second, right?
No, the first.
This one is the first?
Yeah, I didn't like the second one, so it's only 1 and 3.
Okay, so we have, so the third one was this one. I thought actually this pretty cool. And then we also have one here with the three together. And this is, I think he's happy if I share it. So this is from our wonderful moderator who was also participating and who sent us.
Amazing.
So from me.
The cigarette as a mouth and the two noses. I love it.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, very nice. So that was what we received tonight.
Great. Manique, I think we close it off, huh?
I think we're ready to wrap it up. Maybe we can, before we leave and thank everyone, tell something about tomorrow on Friday, also from 7 to 9. We will do the live stream again, live from Enschede, the Overkill Festival, where we will be joined by artist Anne Horel, who also made a new face filter, especially for Overkill. And we have guests Martine Stig, Lilian Stolk, and Jen Ivan, with whom we will discuss how the internet can create more systems of togetherness. So that's tomorrow night.
So join us tomorrow night again. It's our last symposium of this Overkill Festival. You can still visit the Overkill Festival till Sunday, till 5. The works are there. And again, I want to thank you all so much, Valentina Gall, Clara Saito, and Taka for your beautiful lectures and inspirations. I'm very inspired, and really thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge and work. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
I just add, she was not here, but Sandrine was also like a nice sorry, just
Sandrine, Deumier.
Yeah,
Thank you also so much for making this beautiful filter.
Exactly. So see you tomorrow.
I think we have finished the live stream now, right?
We are
Bye,
going
everyone.
out. Right? Bye bye.
Oh, we're gonna go? Oh, I just wanted to the live stream actually.
Oh, wait. Are we out? We're not out, Aynouk.
Oh,
first
you're too fast.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, well then we go. Oh my God.
Yes.